Okay, Powerheads 101.
Wait, is it going? Not doing it.
Yep,
Oh,
it's going.
sorry.
All right, Powerheads 101. Okay, first off, you're going to flip it over. You're going to take the cover off. These 3 screws. 1, 2, 3. So, once you pop off the cover, move it off to the side, you see everything inside. You have your main parts. You have your motor, your bar, and your belt. Okay, 99% of the problems you're going to have are going to be with stuff in here. Okay, at this end. Okay, so you see what I just did? I just took this right out. There's the 2 slots here. It fits right in. You take this off, okay, and you can see in this one all of the hair that's here. So in order to clean it up, usually what I just do is I take a screwdriver or a set of pliers like this and just get underneath where the bearing is to just kind of work the bearing off. Now you can either work off the bearing itself just like this and you see everything, the lovely stuff in here, or sometimes just this entire thing comes off with the bearing attached. So then you just pull it off and then you just put it back in. There's a hole right into the wood bar that this just goes into. But you can see all of this stuff gets in here. You just clean it out, you throw it away. I just make sure that the bearing turns, which this one does. Just pop it back on. Make sure it works right back in there. Pop this on, and then I get ready to put it back. That is most of the time what the problems are with the power heads. Now, to replace it, okay, see this is 2 different sizes. If you look really closely, okay, there's a number 1 on this side, and then there's a number 2 on this side. Okay, when the brushes here are really long, okay, you're going to put it so that the 2 is facing up, so that the smaller side goes down into here. When these start to get worn and they're shorter, you put the 1 facing up and the 2 is facing down, so it pushes it up just a little bit more, okay? So we're going to do this. We're going to put it with the 2 facing up. There's a little spot right in here that this spacer goes right into. Just going to take it like this. You just curl this in here. You turn it so that it's facing, the 2 is facing up like we said, and this slides in. Then you just flip it so that you have the 2 facing up. They both have to face the same way on both sides, and you just pop it right into place. So now we should be okay. So what I then do is I just put this on. I don't screw it back on yet. I plug it in, and we have a contraption here, and I think that you have the same contraption. Irv made this, and I think he has one there. If not, you just plug it into a vacuum. You plug it in, and then you turn it on. Now you see how this stops when I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this. See how it stops? That means when it stops like that, that means that the if you get like a heavy pile carpet, it's gonna not spin. So that means that this belt is getting worn out. Now in here, this is the belt turns right around this little piece. Sometimes this can be up against here. So what you'll just do is it has 4 screws on this bracket. You just loosen them a little bit, and what you can do is you can just push this motor in this way. Okay, I didn't need to do that here, so that's okay. Then you see that this is just, it's worn a little bit, so we're going to replace that, throw that away. I have another one here, okay? So I'm going to replace this. First, I put it right around here where it goes. Okay, so that way it's looped in here. Now, the next step, and this is going to be a little more difficult. It's going to just take a little practice with a brand new belt because it's tight. Okay, so first we loop it around here, so that way it's looped on this part. Remember we said the number 2 is going to be facing up. So this is a harder thing to do because it's just tighter. Again, it just takes some practice. So the 2 is facing up. Once this side is in, this side is a little bit easier to get in. Okay, so now we have that. It's in place. We've cleaned out all the hair from there. Okay, we're going to turn it back on, and you're going to see the difference. Okay, that's really hot on my hand. So now this thing is pretty much as good as new. So, and then I'm going to put the screws back on, and we're going to put this back out into the rotation. Now, the only issues you're going to really run into, for the most part with the power heads, are either going to be that this is dirty and filled up with string and hair and a whole bunch of stuff and is clogged, or the belt is bad, or both. Okay, so if you open it up and everything is clear here, but they're telling you that it's not sucking or it's not picking up, and this is all clear and clean, it's going to be the belt. You can just look at the belt usually and see it gets cracked, it gets hot, and everything else. If you open this up and see that that's really filled with dirt the way that this one was, clean it up, replace the bearing if it needs to be replaced, and if it doesn't turn when you test it, you just replace it. I also always test the belt while I'm in there, because a lot of times if this is really bad and really dirty and filled with hair and string and stuff, then the belt can often go bad. So you might need to replace both of them at the same time. Okay, so that is Powerheads 101.